How do you write an infinite sequence using a formula? Infinite sequences can be written like this. an equals a formula from n equals k to infinity. The formula determines the value for each term. K tells you from which index the sequence starts. If k isn't given, you can assume the sequence starts with index 1. Let's jump right into an example. Consider the infinite sequence given by an equals 2 times n, from n equals 1 to infinity. Now, of course, you can't write down all the elements of an infinite sequence. That's why it's so important to describe them with the formula. But let's write down the first few elements of the sequence. You follow the same method as you used for finite sequences. The first element is given by n equals 1. Plugging this into the formula, 2 times n, you get 2. The second element is given by n equals 2. When you plug that in, you get 4. The third index gives you 6, and so on. Okay, this is an infinite sequence containing all the positive even numbers. Let's consider one final example. You have the infinite sequence given by an equals n squared minus 3. You haven't been given an initial index, so you can assume that this is an infinite sequence starting from n equals 1. Let's write down the first few elements of the sequence. The first element is given by the index n equals 1. The formula says its value is 1 squared minus 3, which is minus 2. The second element uses n equals 2. The formula tells us this is 2 squared minus 3, which is 1. The third element, found using n equals 3, is 6. The fourth is 13, and so on. Now, unlike the positive even numbers, there's no nice description for this sequence, other than it's 3 less than the squares of positive integers. The way to communicate this in a short, readable way is using the formula. This way of writing sequences is really convenient, isn't it? Infinite sequences can be written like this. an equals a formula from n equals k to infinity. The formula determines the value for each term. K tells you from which index the sequence starts. If k isn't given, you can assume the sequence starts with index 1.